My chairmanship was probably one of the most, how would you say it, tumultuous time frame for any chair.
Outgoing Flagler County School Board member Cheryl Massaro joined Free for All Friday to reflect on her time on the board.
Massaro said during much of her time on the board, she felt at a disadvantage.
Every other cycle of election, you either select 3 people, which is a voting majority, or you select 2. I happen to be on the 2. So you kind of always start out at one leg in the hole, basically, because you've got to know. And having spent so many years in education and having 3 new school board members come on that had very little background in education, if any, just they went to school, it's difficult.
Massaro tells host David Ayers she has confidence in the new school board.
I really believe the new board is going to make decisions based on every child, not just a select few. And I think that's really important.
You think Will Furry is smarter now than he was a few years ago?
Probably not. I mean, he's definitely a better leader. He's trying to lead, but it's always about him. And unfortunately, leading is about everybody else believing in you. And so I think he'll continue to grow. At least I hope he will. But I'm hanging around for 2 more years because there's another election in 2 more years. I'm not going anywhere.
Massaro says she plans to stay involved.
I've got so much material over these last couple years. It's certainly going to be coming to the surface, and I'll be working with I'm going to call myself the liaison police, because I'm going to make sure that the new school board members do their job.
Tomorrow, you'll hear from outgoing Flagler County Commissioner David Sullivan. I'm Daryl Moody reporting.
Good morning, Flagler County. I'm Rich Carroll. You're listening to Flagler's Morning News on Monday, November 25th. A Bunnell man who sold a fatal dose of fentanyl is sentenced to life in prison.
A Flagler County jury found Brian Paraglia guilty of first-degree murder by unlawful distribution of a controlled substance following a 3-day trial. Flagler County Sheriff Rick Staley.
In this particular case, the poison peddler was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. And a Flagler County jury found him guilty, and he was immediately sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole under Florida law.
The verdict came after a 2-year investigation into which Flagler County Sheriff's Office detectives determined Paraglia was responsible for selling drugs laced with fentanyl to a Palm Coast man, resulting in his overdose death in February 2022.
If you're a poison peddler in Flagler County and you kill someone by selling the fatal dose, expect to be behind bars for a very, very long time. My suggestion is quit selling your poison in Flagler County or get out of Flagler County. The choice is yours. We're coming for you next.
Sheriff Rick Staley had previously directed that all overdose deaths be investigated as homicide cases to hold drug dealers accountable for their actions. Since this directive, 11 people have been arrested for causing overdose deaths. So far, 7, including Paraglia, have been convicted and sentenced to state prison. For Flagler's Local Morning News, I'm Karen Johnson.
This local news is a service of Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota US 1 St. Augustine, here to wow you.
We're actually helping them develop cyber tools that could be used against us. That's not acceptable, obviously.
Congressman John Rutherford tells Liz Ryan about recent legislation ending agreements between Florida universities and countries of concern.
Those countries are China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, Cuba, Venezuela, and Syria.
Through grant processes, students get opportunities to study and work on research projects within these universities. So they have access to some pretty sensitive data.
Rutherford explains why he feels this needs to stop.
Clearly, Liz, it's the potential for spying that is there and corrupting our systems. For example, through grants. There's many universities that were discovered to have taken very large grants from some of these countries of concern and weren't reporting it. That's very disconcerting to me when you consider that we have all of these students also who are working in these research and development grant programs at these prestigious universities. And we have foreign nationals in there that we can't be sure they are not spies.
He says the information and technology they're learning in universities could eventually be used against the United States.
They're working on all sorts of programs, research and development within schools, like cyber, for example. That's a big one.
Florida is one of the first states in the country to adopt this policy, and he'd like to see it go nationwide.
In Congress, we're slowly trying to do what the state of Florida has very quickly done, and I'm very appreciative of that.
For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Liz Ryan.
And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Rich Carroll.
And now, Mike Licio with your WNZF local sports update.
The WNZF Sports Network kicked off its winter broadcast season Friday night at the Ship when the Pirate Boys basketball team hosted Tokoi Creek on the Flagler Radio YouTube channel. Giles guarded closely again by Figueroa. In the lane, kick back out for Boone for three. And TJ Boone makes it a three-point game. Travis Boone Jr. with the only Pirate three of the night. The Toros led 13-11 after one.
Trying to hit the cutter, and Scott takes it away, and it'll be a layup for Perry on the turnover.
Despite spending most of the night in foul trouble, Nate Perry had 19 points, 5 boards, and 3 assists in 22 minutes for Matanzas. Coach Eric Guerrero.
He's in a new role now. I think he could be an exceptional player. He's learning how to score the ball on a high level, but his passing and his defense is something that's high level for him as well.
The Pirates trailed 24-20 at the half. Baker, turnaround hook, no good. Followed by Baker, and he puts it back. Ladarian Baker with one of his 10 rebounds for the putback. Like he did all football season, Baker got the job done on offense and defense. Mitchell for three. Off the mark, rebounded by Figueroa, blocked by Ladarian Baker.
Great job from Baker protecting the rim there. Don't give him anything easy.
He had 5 blocks in the game.
Ladarian, I think, needs to know how good he is. I think once he understands that he could be a force on the floor and have that confidence and just let him go out there and play, he could be a huge threat for us against other teams.
The Pirates got the Toro lead down to 1, but a 17-2 run to finish the third put Tokoi ahead 44-28.
Ball over to McFadden. Makes a move down the lane. Reverse layup, no good. Rebound to Perry. Oh, nice find for Baker for the easy 2.
Perry starts the fast break with the rebound, but it wasn't enough, and the Toros hand the Pirates their first home loss, 63-46. Jamel Guerrero had 4 steals for the Pirates. They play at DME tonight. In soccer, DeLand came to town to take on the FPC girls Friday. Erin Hughes had a hat trick and a helper. 3 more dogs had a goal and an assist. Ivy Chen, Haley Salmons, and Baby Rempy, Catherine Ouellette. Lacey Clay had her first goal of the season too. FPC wins 7-1. Its career win, 5-35 for Coach Pete Hald. They travel to Neptune Beach Fletcher tomorrow night. Tonight, the Pirate Boys host Fleming Island at the Ship. Matanzas D-tackle Jackson Satterfield will sign his letter of commitment to Utah State a week from Wednesday. This is your home for local sports, with updates Mondays and Fridays. From the WNZF Sports Desk, I'm Mike Licio.